I truly believe that having the right gear can make or break your channel when travel vlogging. So in this video, I'm going to share the gear that I carry when filming that helped our family travel vlog go from 0 to 10,000 subs in 6 months. Hi, I'm Jimmy from Families on the Horizon, and we're here to help average families have not so average adventures. And I personally know the struggle firsthand of trying to capture those perfect moments while on the go. Between kids running around and the stresses of traveling, it's surprising anyone can get any footage. So this video is going to be about all the gear that I use regularly to make it as simple as possible to get the shots you need to build awesome stories and capture lifelong memories, and most importantly, get a ton of views and subs. Also, if you're looking for any of the items I talk about in this video, you can find them in the description below. Let's get into it. I actually think one of the single most important bits of equipment that you can carry when you travel vlogging is actually the bag itself. A lot of people forget it, but this is the thing that you're going to be using the most out of all the equipment you have for travel vlogging. So I'm actually going to start with my bag here. My bag is actually from a company called Greenroom136. Now, I spent so much time researching bags before we left, and I'm glad we did. Probably 10-20 hours I looked at different videos and YouTube videos and reviews of all the different types of bags, and what I actually settled on was a sling bag. So a sling bag is essentially a bag that goes over your shoulder like this. Now, the value of having a sling bag over, say, a traditional backpack is that it's versatile. And what I mean by versatile is that I can wear it like this, so I have it over my shoulder like this, or I can wear it like this if I've got a backpack on, which makes a massive difference. Now, if I had a digital SLR, this bag probably wouldn't be big enough because it's only 6 liters. But for the gear that I have, it's actually perfect. Now, the reason I went with the Greenroom136 bag is, firstly, they're in Malaysia, so the price point's a little bit better compared to a nomadic bag, which is like $200-300. A bag like this is going to set you back about $80, and it's canvas. It's ripstop canvas. It's the same thing that a duffel bag's made from, essentially. And so it's super durable. This bag has been on planes, buses, ferries, you name it. It's been dragged across the floor. It's been stood on. It's a little bit ratty now, to be fair too, but this bag has been absolutely everywhere with me. And the reason I really like it is because it's got really big straps. Now, these straps are like a car seatbelt. They're absolutely amazing. The bigger the strap is on your neck and on your shoulders, the less it hurts. So from a practicality standpoint, having a sling bag is a really good way to go, because when it is on the front, you can actually access everything like this. This was a feature that I didn't appreciate until I got the bag, and I went, wait a minute, I need to be able to see what's in there. So what I would do is I'd open up like this, get everything like I need out, and I didn't have to put the bag down to do it, or I could have both hands free and I can do it with one hand. So let's say I'm holding the camera with this hand, I can open like this, get something out, and still have access to it. So this bag was absolutely amazing, but any sling bag would do. But I really like this Greenroom136 bag. One extra feature I've added to this bag that it didn't come with. So it's got actual molly straps on the front. So for those who don't know what molly straps are, they're like what military uses for putting stuff on front of bags. So it's got molly straps on. So I actually got this molly strap water bottle holder. So when we're traveling and out and about, we put our water bottles in there, keeps them off the ground, and I basically become a pack mule for the family. So I carry all the water for the family in that. And I also got this little just like hip pouch. And now this hip pouch, I'll show you what's in it in a second, but this hip pouch is really good because it allows you just to put a few extra things in there. And when you're wearing it like this here, like when you're actually wearing the bag and you've got it on, you have access to everything you need. It's easily accessible. All right, so that's the bag. Now, you probably noticed that I've got my poles hanging off the outside edge of my bag, and this is a recent addition to the bag, and I'm so glad I did it. One of the problems I had is I like to film with multiple cameras. So I'll be filming with a camera and with this pole, and I'll run you through the pole in a minute, but I'll be filming with this pole, and I'm like, actually, I need the other camera I've got, the 360 camera. I need that. So what do you do with this if it's in this head? Watch this. So what I done is I got these things called spider holders, and they're actually for tools. So like you would normally have a drill hanging off this, but I can put that there. I can unclip this one and my camera is ready to go. So what I do is I just have my cameras in the holders like this, and then I can switch between them with one hand. It's a massive feature. So if you're going to get a bag like this with a decent sling, go and get yourself some spider holders. These little things here, they come with a mounting unit, which is this, and then they come with an adapter, which is this here, and they mount to any circular objects. So that's enough about the mounting system. These are probably one of the things I like the most about my setup personally. You know what it's like, right? Traveling with kids, you're traveling with family, and one of the kids asks you to hold a water bottle, and you're trying to film, you got one hand like this, and the kid asks you to, so you can go like this, okay kid, give me that, carry this for you. I've done it even like this sometimes where I've had it's sitting inside the mount, and I'm carrying an ice cream. It's just sometimes you need a third set of hands, and these little spider holders act as a third set of hands. So definitely recommend getting 2. I would actually get 3 if I could do it again. All right, let's take a look at what's actually inside the bag. I'm going to talk about what's underneath here. One of the awesome features of this bag is it has these little pockets that are hidden away. What I actually put in one of these pockets is a AirTag, or like a Samsung version of an AirTag, because we have Samsungs. Haven't had to use it yet. That's more of a security feature. Basically how they work is that if someone was to steal this bag, I could use my phone to track it. And haven't had to use it yet, but there's thousands of dollars worth of gear in here. So if someone does steal it, I want to at least have an attempt to find it. So definitely recommend putting an AirTag, and it's got like a little Velcro stop there to stop it from falling out. This is the inside of the bag here. So I'm going to show you the front. Okay, so as you can see, this is the front of the bag. Now, the front of the bag is actually quite spacious. It's a 6-liter bag, so I believe it's 2 and 4 from the spacing was. But let's have a look in here and I'll show you what I carry pretty much every time I go out and film. Now, the beauty about this bag is that I leave it set up like this, and then when we go to film, I just make sure everything's charged the night before, and I basically just take the bag to the charging station, charge everything, and then just roll with it. So the first thing I have in here, which I pretty much carry all the time, is this. Now, this is a Pro Standard mouth mount. So you would have seen in a lot of our videos if you've seen them. I carry my camera when I need my hands free like that. Now, you look like an absolute idiot when you're filming your travel vlog. It's not about what other people think about you. It's about getting the best shot. And I'm going to make a video about mindset when it comes to filming pretty soon. But this is a mouth mount. Put it in like that. You put the camera down there. And what it allows you to do is it frees your hands and allows you to securely mount the camera. I've done this swimming. I've done this on zip lines. I've done this on flying foxes. A lot of the footage I get on rides comes like this, because it gives you like a first-person perspective and it makes the camera really secure. Now, you're probably thinking, why would you use this over, say, a chest mount or a headband? Firstly, the headbands can slide out, slide off. I don't like the headbands, but like a chest mount, it's a good idea. The problem with a chest mount is that if you need to take the camera off for any reason, it's stuck to you. So the beauty about this is I can have this on a ride like this, and if I want to talk to the camera, I just take it out of my mouth and do that and talk to it. Put it back in my mouth. Very easy to do. Like I said, the less friction you have to getting good shots, the more likely you're going to put the effort in to get them. So that's one thing I have in there is a mouth mount, and I have a Ulanzi quick mount attached to that. And I'll talk about the Hummingbird mounts in a sec, and that's been a game changer for me as well. So the next thing I carry is a battery pack. I always carry a battery pack with me. Make sure to charge it before you leave, but I've got an Anker 10,000 milliamp or 20,000 milliamp battery pack. It is a 20,000 milliamp battery pack. I carry that, and I carry 2 USB-C cables because pretty much everything I have charges off that. And then I also have the locking mount for action cameras. So this is from HSU. You can get them from Ulanzi, but I've just found getting a metal one works a lot better because there's less chance of it stripping when you use it, and it grips really tight. So I just have that. So there's a key ring mount inside the bag. I just put it in that and tuck it in one of the pockets. And then I carry, anyone that's dealt with action cams knows what these are. And these are the threaded bolts that hold the camera to the mount. So I carry extras of these, all different lengths. I've got about 4 there, and I've got another 2 inside just floating around inside the bag. So I carry as many as I can. Honestly, you can't carry too many because you can damage them, and sometimes you just need to swap it out, or you're trying to build a different configuration and you need an extra one like for an adapter or something. 2 is 1 is none, 3 is a guarantee. Just carry as many as you can because you never know when you're going to need them. And I've also got in this pocket an extra SD card straight out of the packet. I haven't even unsealed it. Just an SD card. I like to use the SanDisk Extreme Pros, which are the black and red ones. I've done a lot of research. Thanks to Daddy Black's video. He's got a video just on these cards. The SD cards actually make a massive difference to whether your camera overheats or not, and if you get jittery footage. So you want the highest speed cards you can get. Now, these cards aren't cheap. This is a 250 card. I've got 3 of them. I've got 2 in the cameras and I've got a spare, because the worst case scenario for you is if you get a card and it actually stops working on you, or you snap it. I've had that happen to me once. I've actually accidentally snapped the card taking it out. Your day's ruined if you don't have a spare. So 2 is 1 is none, 3 is a guarantee. That's always been my motto, and I think you should follow it as well. So that's basically what's in the front pocket. As you can see, it's more for like accessories. I don't go in it very often. It's more just like if I need to get something out of there. I also use it for storing bits and pieces. So if I've got a document that I need to store for where we're going, I generally put it in that pocket. Now, let's talk about the big pocket. The main pocket of this bag is actually really quite big when when you look at it like this. And I've got a lot of stuff in there. So this is a 4-liter section. This is a 2-liter section, Greenroom136, and I believe the bag's a Metrorunner. And it's a great bag. I'd highly recommend it. But this is basically the kit out I have to get all of the footage that I possibly need to film the videos that we do. I get compliments all the time on the footage that we get from this exact setup. And it just goes to show you that you don't need to complicate it. It's really just about having the gear that you need to get the job done. So let's start with the cameras, which is probably the main reason you came here. You want to know the cameras I have. So the first camera I have, and it's mainly for vlogging, and that vlogging is where you're talking to the camera. So I have a microphone set up on this all the time, generally, is a DJI Action 3. Now I used to have a GoPro Hero 10 and I've sent it back to Australia, and I'll talk about the reasons for that in a sec. But this camera is actually in an aftermarket frame. So the camera itself sits in don't think I can, I actually can, by the perks of this camera. It's in a frame. So this is the camera itself, and it sits inside this steel frame. Now this steel frame has saved it a lot, but it's not the main reason I got it. I got it mainly for the extra adapters that like all these extra mounts that come on it. But essentially it sits in there, and it's a great camera. And let me tell you the reason why I swapped from a GoPro to this camera specifically. So I had the GoPro, and as you can see, I like to have a lot of different options for mounting. The thing with the GoPro that really annoys me, and it's something they can fix very easily, is to be able to put a microphone on a GoPro, you need a media mod, which is like a plastic shell that looks a lot like this that goes into the USB port. Firstly, it stops it from being waterproof, which is fine. It's opened up the camera. The main reason I didn't like it is to access the batteries on the camera, you needed to take the media mod off, slide it off, and then get to it that way. It also has this really obscure foam, like microphone muffler for wind that just blew off and broke off. So I remember I was at a water park with the boys and Pauline, and I was like, okay, I'm running out of batteries. I've got to swap. And I sat there for 10 minutes. I'm doing the threads, taking the mounts off, taking the media mod out, swapping the batteries, putting it back in. Then the camera would freeze up. So I had to take it out, blow it out, put it back in, do the media mod. And I said, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this mounting option. Yes, it's a good camera. Mine never really overheated, but I was sick of that mounting option. So I was doing some research, and I has this simple magnetic mounting system. So if you need to get into the camera anyway, you just take that off and you have full access to the camera. So it works amazingly well in the situations I need, because all I do is the mount that it came with, which is this one here, this magnetic mount. I've got Ulanzi Hummingbird quick mounts attached to all my poles. So if I want to go from here, it's on my pole, say for instance, which is over here. Let's say for instance, the camera is attached to this for whatever reason. I'm like, actually, I want to go and film something quickly. I can go like that. I can go like that. And it's perfectly secure. It's not going anywhere. And it's okay, I want to put it back to the way it was. Do that. And I go, okay, I can go on my vlogging pole now. And it's on there like that. Very easy, very efficient. And then my other camera, which I'll show you right now just for brevity's sake, is the same thing. It's got the same mount. I can put it on here, take it off, because remember, the aim of the game when you're travel vlogging is simplicity, in my opinion, of course. So that's why I really like the Action 3. Is it as good a video camera as the GoPro Hero 10? I think so, but that's our main vlogging camera. That's like the workhorse, because a lot of travel vlogging is documenting. So we sit there with this pole here, which I'll get off in a sec. We basically sit there with this pole here and we go talk, and then put it back on there. Maybe record a little bit, record Pauline's and the kids' reactions with a microphone. One of the most important things you can own if you do travel vlogging is the audio that you use. Now, I ended up going with a Sennheiser M200 microphone with this little adapter to make it so it works with the camera. But essentially that sits on here like that, and allows crisp audio, and then I can do stuff in post to improve it slightly. But this is perfect because it doesn't need batteries. The camera itself powers the microphone. Same with the phone. It works with the phone as well. It's also got a windsock if you are that way inclined and you feel like the wind's going to be an issue. Now, the issue with mounting it on the camera like that, this is if someone's talking, if someone's talking, it's fine if they're talking into the camera. But if you're talking as well, you can really lose them. This is part of the reason I've got this Ulanzi ball head mount on the vlogging stick. Mainly so that I can go and move it direction. So if I want to do this kind of angle, I can do that. I can get in low. It just helps having a full directional tilt on the camera and when you set it up. But the main reason I got it, and it's a nice surprise because I didn't know it at the start, was I actually mount my microphone here when I talk to it. So I mount it on here, and what that allows me to do when I mount it on there is like I can talk to, if I'm talking to someone, they can talk to it. But if I have to say something, I can just flick it over and talk to the camera as well. So that's a Sennheiser M200 microphone and a Ulanzi ball head. And I've got that attached to just the DJI pole that comes with the camera. So this is the pole that comes with the DJI Action 3. I've just got to attach that. I really like the fact that it extends out. You can put a tripod on it if you need to. But yeah, I just generally will have it like there, talk to it, talk at eye level, and then put it away when I need it on the spider holster. So that's our main vlogging camera, and that's the main setup for that. I also have it in this cover. The beauty about this cover is that you can put it on it while it's on the case. So if you're going to get a cover for your camera, make sure you can put it on while it's on the case, because then I can just put it straight onto this spider holster, and it's pretty safe. It's not going to get damaged when it's sitting in this. It's pretty robust. And in that, I just keep a lens cover, pretty basic stuff there. So that's our vlogging camera. Okay, so the next camera we have is an Insta 360 X3 camera. So this is one of those 360-degree cameras. They're not cheap. This camera probably set you back $400 or $500 US. This camera is $600-700 US, but it's super versatile. Why I got it originally is I was very hesitant. I was like, I've got enough cameras as it is. But what would happen is I'd give the boys this camera and they'd be shooting things and they'd be pointing at the floor, they'd be pointing at the roof. Like, they just don't understand framing of shots. So I needed to be able to give them a camera to get their raw, true emotions when they discovered something for the first time. So that's why I got this camera. And the main purpose of it originally was the fact that I could put it on a pole like this for the boys and go, hold it. They don't have to worry about it pointing in their face. They don't have to worry about pointing in any specific direction. It's like perfect camera to give to a kid so they can just film real thoughts, because it's filming them, it's filming the surroundings in a 360-degree view. What I found though is that it's just a super versatile camera. It gets amazing shots. It gets really unique shots too. So if we're on a ride or something like that, like a zip line, I will generally put the Action 360 in my mouth like this, and then I'd hold this camera on a pole out in front of me like that, and I'll be filming away like that, and then there's all different angles, because the secret to keeping a vlog engaging is having different angles. No one wants to see one shot. It's boring. Whereas if you're on a ride and you can change the angle of the camera in the software that comes with this, you can change where the camera points, then you can get all kinds of different interesting angles with it. So the beauty about this camera too, and the DJI Action 3, is that they're both waterproof, which makes them super versatile, because you can take them in the water, you can swim with them, and you can take them out, dry them out, and they're good to go. So this camera, I would highly recommend everyone have it a Insta 360 X3, because it's been a surprisingly good dark horse camera, and we're finding we're using it more and more as we get more familiar with how it actually works. So definitely want to do that. And there's actually a third camera, which is effectively the holy trinity of filming like this. So one of the main perks of having a digital SLR camera with a big lens is low light and zoom. The problem with these action cameras, this and the Insta 360 X3 is no exception, is that they don't work very well in low light. They get super grainy, so you see the footage and it's like really pixelated and grainy, and you can't zoom with them. They're fixed zoomed, so you can't zoom in with them. So you always get these really super wide shots with action cameras, which are great for if you're zipping down a hill or you're on a jet ski. But sometimes you just want to zoom in and look with an optical zoom, which is basically with the lens. You want to zoom in and actually get close to the action so you can really see features and faces and things like that. That's where this phone comes in. So I had an older phone before I bought this one, and we actually got invited to go on this jungle trek. And I was panicking because I was like, oh, we're going to go on this jungle trek. There's going to be monkeys and trees and things like that. And the action cams aren't going to be able to get them, and I don't want to have to buy a digital SLR. So I did a lot of research and went, actually, I think a Samsung Galaxy S22 or S23 Ultra will do the job, because it has 10 times optical zoom and it has a big enough lens that works well in low light. So this slowly became the main camera that I record things on. So I used to use this all the time. Then you run into low light situations or mixed light where you have like shadow and light, and it would really underperform. Whereas this camera, the cameras on these are so good. You actually get depth of field with these lenses too now. So it has 10 times optical zoom, which means you can zoom in 10 times without losing any clarity, because it's using the actual 10 times lens on here. It's got wide 0.6, it's got 1.0 at 1, and it's 108 megapixels. So the footage is crystal clear. And this is like our main workhorse camera. This is the camera I use to get like B-roll, which is like all the other footage that goes into us to make them look good, to give context to a scene. So this gets all the B-roll. This is the camera I use if the light's low. So if we go to an aquarium where the lights are not that good, I'll only take this camera and I won't take any of these other ones. If it's nighttime, it works really good for night. It's just a super versatile camera. By far the most expensive camera out of all of these. This is going on $1,500 Australian, so almost $1,000 US. It's an not a cheap phone, and this isn't the newest model. It's the second, I think it's 2 or 3 years old now. But anything you get, as long as it's above an S22 Ultra, it's good to go. And I've done a lot of research, and that's the single best phone when it comes to cinematic photography and video and vlogging and things like that. Now, the chink in the armor of this phone is that stability is an issue. You can get good stability by just holding it like this and using good practices, keeping your shoulders in when you're filming, but it still has a chink in the armor. And that's what this next product solves, which is a gimbal. So this is an actual phone gimbal. It's made by DJI. Again, I love DJI's products. This is a DJI OM6, which is effectively a gimbal. When I put the magnet mount on this, actually holds the camera in place. And now the idea of the gimbal is that when you put something in it, it stays super stable when you're moving around. So I will walk around, say the phone's like that in there, I'll just walk around and I'll use that for all my filming because the camera stays super stable. You can run with it. I chase the kids with it and get some really interesting footage. The beauty about this one too, the newer ones, is they do this. So you can get in real low. So let's say that's the floor there. You can get in real low with the camera and you can actually get in there and get in real low and get some interesting shots with it. Now, one last thing I forgot to mention that's nothing to do with vlogging, but makes this a great travel phone is that it takes eSIMs and it has dual SIMs. So you can actually technically have 2 SIM cards in here, which I do, and an eSIM on top. So it's a very good travel phone to keep that in the back of your mind. So what else we got in this bag? I've got a tripod. So I use that for all. It comes with the DJI camera, but I use it for all of the stuff that we have. I also have batteries. You can never have too many batteries. Now, the beauty about using action cameras is that the batteries are quite robust. They're designed to be bashed and beaten around. So I have the DJI batteries in here with the charger so that if I need to charge them on the fly, I can put the battery pack in there and charge them. I carry 3 batteries, a minimum. So I have 3 DJI batteries for the DJI camera, and I actually have 4 batteries for the Insta360X3. Funny story, the reason I have 4 batteries is because I killed one of these cameras and I loved it that much that I paid another $700 to get one. So basically what happened was I scratched the lens real bad. The one problem with these cameras, if I must admit there is a problem, is that the lenses are so easy to scratch because it doesn't matter how you sit, it's sitting on a lens. So you either need to get a cap like this and sit it in a cap like that, which is a really hard shelled silicone case. But what I did is I had it on a pole when I was out in a lazy river and it accidentally touched the bottom and scratched one of the lenses. Now I found a guy that said he could swap the lenses on these cameras. Apparently he can't. He did, until I put it in water and it started leaking, and that was the end of that camera. Long story short is don't scratch the lenses because it's very difficult to get them replaced. I carry another camera stick. This is the Insta360 invisible camera stick. It comes with the cameras. Very good because when you have it on the actual Insta360 to 360 camera, it goes invisible so you can't see it. So it works really well. And this is generally the tripod I'll use if I'm mounting it to a handlebars of a motorcycle and things like that. And I'll talk about that for a second. Then really all I also have in here is an extra lanyard. Very handy for some places you go to. They won't let you take your camera on a ride unless it's tethered to you in some way. So you do that, it's tethered to you. That way, if you drop it, if we go into the water and I drop it, it's part of the reason I have this with it permanently on this. So like I can carry it. If I drop it, there's still some way of doing it. Generally, I'll attach it like there. But yeah, carry an extra lanyard. They're so cheap to buy and it's worth having it. And then that's about it in the bag. But one of the things I do carry that I just remembered in this little pouch is actually stickers. The Moth Family Our Vlog stickers, I carry those in here because we always get asked for them. And they're a great way to grow your subscriber base. If you find a group of people and that you film them and just go, oh, you're going to be in the vlog, you'll get 20 people subscribed that way. So it's a nice little hack if anyone's looking for subscribers. But yeah, that's essentially the bag itself. Now I'm going to quickly talk about the tripods and some of the accessories that I have that I only carry on specific occasions. Everything I've shown you up until that point is stuff that I carry all the time. This is stuff that I may carry depending on the circumstances. So let's talk about the sticks quickly. So I use an Insta360 3-meter stick. So this one is a very long stick, as you can see, but it's invisible on the camera. So the camera can't really see it. I have the Ulanzi mount on there so that I can mount the cameras on it and I just leave those permanently on, just have lots of them. So a really versatile stick, except it's bulky. So you can see it's actually really quite a thick stick. So it's really hard to store. It's really hard to carry, and you can't take sticks like this and this on a plane because they're considered weapons. Just remember that, because I've had one confiscated in the past, one of these ones, because he said it was a retractable baton. I was like, no, it's got Insta360 on it, but just remember that. So this is a really good one because you can get like drone shots with it. You'll notice that there is no drone in this either. It's simplicity's sake. You can get the footage you need on places like story blocks and stuff like that. If you want drone footage, there's plenty of drone footage on the internet that you can just source if you need it. I would love a drone because I like the idea of flying around and doing it, but I've never needed it. And I've got this one as well, like I showed you before. Now, let's talk about some of the accessories that I have that I don't carry all the time, but have been super helpful. And the first one is actually this, and I've got to thank my friends at Always Be Changing for giving me the seed of an idea. This is a DJI wireless microphone. It's mainly for interviews, but it works really well for underwater audio. So the problem with this action cam is, yes, it works well underwater, but it takes ages to dry out. And if you get water where the microphone is, the audio goes really muffled, and yeah, it just doesn't sound very good, and it's very hard to hear people on it. So what we've been doing lately is that this module that's part of the DJI actually records locally. So you don't have to have it plugged in anything. It will automatically record as I'm talking into it. As you can see there, it's got an internal memory. I've been putting this inside a bag and in my wetsuit, in my pants or whatever, inside a little bag that can't get wet, with this in a separate bag, this microphone in a separate bag. And then what I've been doing is when we've been in the water and we need to record audio, I just get this one out of the bag, talk into it, and put it back in the bag. Then I just sync up the audio in the editing and I get crystal clear audio from this. This is a secret. This is very new, but it works so well. And I'll also use this now and again if we need to record two people talking. I did have a second one, but I lost it. So now it's just one. But thank you guys, Phil at Always Be Changing, for planting the seed of the idea. Works so well. The next thing I have over here, these are a couple of bits that I carry often, but not all the time, is a mount for handlebars. So I like to get shots of us driving around on motorcycles. So I just put this on the handlebars or on the back, and I put one of the poles on here, and you get that 360-degree view of a drone shot following you. Really awesome shot if you can get it. Does turn a few eyes, raise a few eyebrows, but you're not here to win any beauty pageants, right? You're here to get the footage. The next thing I carry is this magnetic clip from Telesin. It's a magnetic clip. As you can see, I've got my DJI because that's generally the camera I use with it. And this is good because it's magnetic. It will stick to metal, but it also clips onto things. So if you have a side of a table, you can clip it onto that. It's magnetic, so you can put it on the side. It's just good for getting those action shots or time lapses, things like that. Very good for that kind of footage. And then I have this mount here, which is it's simple, but it's super handy. It's a neck mount, and I don't personally use it. It's for the kids. If I'm being completely honest, I get them to do this, and let's say there's a place that I'm not allowed to go into, or I want to get the action of the kids doing something, I'll just put this around their neck because they obviously don't feel comfortable holding this in their mouth, and let them run around a park. So it's a very specific circumstance. So what I'll do is I'll sit down and plan the trip. I'm like, okay, what are we going to be doing? What are we trying to achieve? What are we going to be filming? And then I go, okay, we're going to need this and this and the core bag with all the bits in it. Then what I do, I'll put everything that's in there on charge, so it's ready to go, grab the bag, head off and do it. Obviously, this is how I like to film, and ultimately you need to create a setup that's right for you. I just know when you have kids pulling you in all directions, or you may be carrying a bag, or have a funny impromptu moment that you want to capture quickly, or you just simply don't want to mess around with cameras, this setup ticks all the boxes and more. All I do is make sure that everything is charged the night before, grab the bag and head out. Now you have an idea of what gear to get to make amazing vlogs. That's only half the battle. If you want people to actually watch them and start making money, then you need to watch this video next.